Hello, beach friends. This afternoon, we are going to enjoy some time over at Bunche Beach. I haven't been here in a while, and as the timing would have it, I'm going to be able to catch low tide. So we are going to explore Bunche Beach and look for some critters. We're going to look for some shells and just kind of see what else we can find as we explore one of the local beaches down here, Bunche Beach. If you're ready for a little salt, a little sun, a little mud, let's go to the beach. So here we are at Bunche Beach. It is obviously low tide and it is very muddy right in this particular area. Lots of rocks. It's actually a little bit treacherous. So if you do plan to come here at low tide, definitely wear your shoes. So this beach typically has tons of broken oysters, really sharp kind of shells. So you're definitely going to want to watch out. And amongst all that, there's a lot of muck too. Let's do a check-in. It's 89 degrees and the tide is just about dead low. So the tide is going out. It's almost dead low. Now let's see what the first thing we find is. And this was surprising. I wasn't expecting to find it, at least in this location. This is a live lightning whelk, all tucked in there. But it sure is pretty. And what interested me is the inside of that shell was so purple. Oh, it's just beautiful. So we'll just admire it and let it grow to be a nice big lightning whelk. Okay. Here's our first critter. Again, one of those long-wristed hermit crabs. This is in a pear whelk. Let's see. Give him or her a second, see if they're going to come out and say hi. These are pretty much the only type of hermit crabs we're going to see today. Not the big, I like the big red ones. Hopefully I'll get to see that in the near future. There we go. A good look at that long-wristed hermit crab that really wants me to get off its shell. So that's it, buddy. Not going to torture you too much. Just want to say hi, let you go about your day. There you go. Have fun. All right, lots of mud, sediment, stuff here, but real quick before I spend too much time in the water, let's just do a beach check. Let's see what's up here on the beach. Yep, there's stuff. There's pieces of shells, broken this, broken that. So not a whole lot. Okay, a crossbarred Venus. I told you, you're always gonna find those. And a piece of a crown conch. Hopefully we can find a whole one. There's another top. So not too much going on the beach right now. And frankly, Bunche Beach doesn't typically have a lot of shells. Here's a shark eye. It's kind of got that discolored kind of flavor going on. You know, Bunche does that to the shells. It just kind of makes them like washed out. So that's pretty much, that's a good shark eye for Bunche Beach. But I like it anyway because there are always surprises. You never know. I haven't made it too far. That's the entrance there where you see a couple of those umbrellas. So I'm just kind of creeping around, see what I can find, whether it be something I can keep or something we can at least just check out. All right, I see a crown conch, and I didn't realize, that white thing that was kind of flipping around, that's a proboscis, and we're going to have a really good look at that in just a little bit. This is a live crown conch. I was obviously hoping it was not alive, but it is. So we'll say hi. Take a peek at the operculum and the little critter. So I believe this one was actively looking for food. So we'll just say hi and put it back, let it finish hunting for a snack. Just tuck it in there. All right, you see some of that mud. Once you kind of stir it up, the water, even though it was very clear. Here we have another shark eye with that weird kind of like coloring, and another one of those long-wristed hermit crabs. And there were a lot of hermit crabs. It was actually kind of cool. There were other kids there, and their mom, look at the hermit crabs. It was so. If you're, if you want your kids to kind of experience this out in nature, bring them on over to Bunche Beach, because I don't know that I've ever been here and not seen at least one or two hermit crabs. This particular day, there was a whole bunch of them. That could have helped because the tide was so low, but there were a lot, and the kids were having fun. So that was kind of cool. Got to see a whole bunch of hermit crabs. Oh, okay. A keeper, a rose petal telling. Kind of unusual that you'd find a cool shell like that here. Oh, a foot insert from the genus Dr. Schollus. Okay, not really. It's garbage. But what was interesting is how quickly the sea life wanted to adapt, attach itself, and just use it. So I'm going to throw that in the garbage. Get that out of the critter's way. Here we have a sunray Venus, and I couldn't quite tell if it was alive or just kind of tightly closed, some kind of creates a vacuum. This one happened to be alive. So that is a live sunray Venus clam, and I'm just going to leave it there to do its sunray Venus clam thing. Another rose petal talon. All right, this one's got a little discoloration, a little green. That's okay. It's a pretty rose petal talon. What do we got? Another, okay, a keeper now. A sunray Venus clam with the other side all busted up. Yep, I'm just going to keep the half. Cool shell. All right, just for orientation, out in the distance there, you'll see that blue arch. That is the bridge to Fort Myers Beach. That is North Fort Myers Beach, kind of Bowditch area. That other landmass there, that is Sanibel. And as I pan around, you'll see the causeway over to Sanibel. And then just kind of wraps around. So Bunche is really more of a bay-facing beach versus a Gulf-facing beach. So it's a little different. And that is a lightning whelk. Again, the color, a little bit muted. It's the minerals. There's something going on at this beach that does that. Now that, even though it looks just like a white rose petal talon, that is a Tampa talon. So that's kind of cool. And looks like another lightning whelk. Oh, and it's alive. So here we have another live lightning whelk. There's, you can see if I turn, well, all right, I was looking at the front of the shell. You see the operculum, I did that real quick. Oh dear, it's rather green, but that, who cares? The shell can be as green and slimy as it wants. Go be healthy, guy or gal. Do your thing. Now that, I know you can't really see it great, and it is crown conch egg casings, and I was hesitant to pick it up because I wasn't really sure if it was viable or what was going on. Now they typically lay them in the spring and summer, and this is October, so I don't know what was going on there, but I just left it alone. At this point, I know it's a little, not your typical beach, but it sure is pretty. So at this point, I'm going to give you a little beach time. So I'm still making my way south. So I kind of start at the beach, I go left, which is south. And I wanted to come up here just to see if anything was maybe stranded because the tide went out. And looks like the critters are pretty smart. There wasn't really much up here. So they had buried themselves. They had done whatever it was they needed to do to wait for the tide to come back in. Okay, here I have another buried hinged sunray Venus clamshell. We'll wash that. Oh, very nice. Very clean. Very cool. A hinged sunray Venus clam. Awesome. And what do I spy here? Oh, man. All right, so that was a pear whelk. And it's just all sorts of beat up. But look at the size of that. Awesome. Not a keeper, but it's always interesting to pick it up and go, man, if only that was a good shell. Here we have another hinged sunray Venus clamshell. A little on the slimy side. That's okay. Nope, that's fine. That'll clean up just fine. And what do we got here? Oh, well, hi, crown conch. That's empty and a keeper. Woohoo! All right. And this was really, really unusual. This is a banded tulip, and I don't really find them here, like, ever. But I found this one, and its aperture is not broken. It's not in terrible shape, but stick around to the very, very end, and I'll show you how that ultimately cleaned up after I brought it home and gave it a little TLC. There's a critter in there, so that's a little NASA, and there's a little long-wristed hermit crab in there. So it was tough finding shells that you could keep. A lot of them were already taken. So the tide is way, way out. But it's so pretty. So I'm just kind of wandering around this little tide pool again, kind of hoping I find, critters, shells, something. Water's nice and clear. Visibility conditions are great. And there's just not a whole heck of a lot here. I mean, there's just not. So I'm going to keep looking. There's another hermit crab in a crown conch. So it looks like most of the keeper shells are already taken. Here's a little drill of some sort again. Yep, little critter in there. So it was a great day to come and see the hermit crabs because they were everywhere. And so were the sunray Venus clams. Look at that, another one hinged. Although this one, is this one chipped a little? Yeah, on the end there. And I wondered if it is the lightning whelks kind of trying to open them. Is it birds maybe pecking at those? Because a lot of those shells, you'll see as we go, are broken. Now this shell is new to me. I don't know what it is. It was paper thin, like almost completely translucent or just transparent. I mean, you could really see right through it. Does have like a little ridge on it. Don't know what it is. Is it maybe a Tampatelin? I don't know. So that one was a little bit of a mystery. Now I saw another live lightning whelk. That one I could determine was alive. So I thought, okay, we picked up a couple. Let me just leave this one alone and see if we can kind of check it doing out anything interesting other than just trying to not get washed around by the surf. So that black piece sticking out the front, that is this critter's proboscis. And it does look like it's hunting. It eats clams. And that's why I was saying about those sunray Venus clam shells, because a lot of them had a broken or chipped edge to the shell. And I was wondering if it broke as the lightning whelk was trying to pry it open. Who knows? Hopefully one day I'll figure it out. But this guy's not really doing all that much. I think we've seen what we can see. So let's just keep it moving. All right. What do we find it next? Critter or shell? Shell. Oh. And that one has a little chip too. See what I mean? So, yep, that is another sunray Venus hinged clam. I'm going to go ahead and keep the side that isn't broken. No, and this was unusual too. I thought this was going to be a shell, but it's alive. So this is a live pear whelk. There it's little operculum. Aw, poor critter. All right, so the critter is retreating. It is going into its shell. It will protect itself with that operculum, and it's pushing water out as it kind of retreats into the shell. Kind of pretty. So make sure that that critter, sorry buddy, sorry to disturb you. We'll put him back. And here is a disc Docinia with all sorts of slimy beach stuff on it, but I'm going to go ahead and keep it, try to clean that up. And here is, yep, that was another lightning whelk, and I saw that it was alive, so I just left it alone. Just left it where I found it. Now, what do we have here? A crown conch with a critter. Oh, darn it. It's got really good spikes on it, too. So that would have been a cool shell. But finders keepers, that hermit crab found itself a fantastic home. Looks like it'll be okay for a while, too, so there you go, friend. Do your thing. Now, there was a lot of grasses here, and I had never really noticed that there was grasses. Again, the tide is really low, so I'm able to really kind of walk out there. So I was wondering we had found a seahorse here once. It was alive on the beach. We did return it to the water. So I was kind of looking. Didn't find any seahorses, but I did find yet another hermit crab in a seraph shell. Not an auger, but a seraph. So we'll just put that critter back. And there's another one of our shorebirds, some sort of egret. Wasn't exactly sure, but those birds were also, we'll see a couple more in a little bit, enjoying the low tide as well. The opportunities that arise when the tide is low. And then that shell, I was trying to figure it out if it was the snail or if it's a hermit crab in there. I think I ultimately came to the decision it is a hermit crab. Now this is a crown conch. I'm not going to leave it. It is totally alive. And if you look at the front of its shell, right there. So keep your eye on that. Look at, that's its proboscis. And so it's kind of probing, smelling, hunting. So it's looking for food. And I'm really trying to control myself because I think they're so pretty. And from all the shit, like these guys will kind of hang out with you. Not the way that the Florida fighting conchs will just kind of be whipping all over the place. These guys will, they're more docile. But I love the crown conch. And you can kind of see it with its little ecosystem on its back. Kind of moving around. Oh, I just think they're so cool. And another hinged sunray Venus clam. Let's see, a little slimy. Not too bad. Go ahead and keep those. They're so pretty. Even though they're just clams, they're real pretty. So that's it. I can walk no further south. And that is what the day looks like. Not too shabby. So this is Bunche Beach. It is, like I said, it's a kind of a bay-facing beach. It is much different than any of the beaches that I typically go to. Typically, I'm looking, for the big shells, and this isn't really a shelling beach. It's really much more of an exploring beach, and then you get bonus shells once in a while. So here is a little crown conch. It's got the color. It's kind of muted, and that's what Bunche does to these shells. It just, for whatever reason, makes them kind of a beige color. Except for the rose petal talons. Those always stay pink. So that is another rose petal talon. Woohoo. Oh, I'll show you at the end. I was finding so much glass. It was really bumming me out. So that's what's going on here. A bunch. Little just crushed things. There's a little bit more going on in the water to the left here. Kind of the stuff that would have been in the tide. Here's a broken shark eye. Looks like a piece of a jewel box. And everything's very green, very, very muddy. Makes it more exciting for me. I like the muck. It doesn't bother me at all. Like picking through all the stuff and seeing what you can discover. Oh, it looks like I discovered 2 more of those Tampa talons. Those are neat. I do not find them a lot. So it's kind of cool. And these snails are cool too, or these shells. Actually, both, the snail and the shell. This is a ladder horned snail. And you can tell the edge, the opening there is just ever so different than the augurs or the serifs. So that is a ladder horned snail. And more just little pieces. I got lucky one time, crossbarred Venus. Always going to find those. Morton egg cockle. So I was kind of hoping I'd find a wentletrap. I did get super lucky once. There is a lightning whelk. And managed to find a wentletrap just kind of looking in little pieces of debris, but not yet today. To be fair, I didn't spend a ton of time up in the little pieces. I just kind of periodically would check, hoping to get lucky and then keep it moving. Now this, if you look inside that little shadow there, you will see that that is a crowned conch. So I did find at least one critter that looks like it got a little bit stranded by the tide going out. So it looked like it was having kind of a hard time. I'm sure it probably would have been just fine. I mean, these guys are conditioned to understand, be okay out of the water for at least one tide cycle, but I kind of can't help myself. So I'm just going to go ahead and get it into some water. There you go. Much better. And channeled duck clam. A rather large channeled duck clam. All right, kind of a cool find. Definitely going to keep that. Especially on a day like today. Ugh, with the glass. Although I did check this out. Now, I've never found Meowie Juana. Catnip so good it should be illegal. I didn't even know it existed. So that was, I kind of cracked me up. Thought that was kind of funny, but I took that and made sure it made it into the garbage. Now this was kind of exciting because this is a buried lightning whelk and it's kind of given me some trouble. So I know there's a bit of shell there and I get it up and I'm like, ah, drat. So it is definitely broken on the bottom. And once I kind of rinsed it off, just packed full of mud, it's broken. So not a keeper. And I was bummed. I was kind of hoping that that would have been a really cool find, but not today. Was not to be. So I just wanted to kind of show you how treacherous this walking was. And every time I turn around, there was a piece of glass. And I was just horrified thinking that people might be barefoot here. So I could not resist. And every time I started to try to keep walking, a piece of glass would catch the corner of my eye. So I did this for a little while. And at the end of the, not the very end, but shortly, I will show you all the glass I picked up. It was really quite a bummer. I think, you know, for the most part, people probably wouldn't step on it just because it's buried with all this other really sharp stuff. So people probably would have been careful anyway. But I was picking up all the glass I could find, and we'll take a peek at that in a minute. So I'm back over kind of by the entrance, and I'm walking toward the other end of the beach, and I found myself a crown conch. Okay, colors okay, nice and spiky though. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that. Now the sand, see the way that the sand is kind of ripply? That is aptly named current ripples. So the current will kind of make those indentations and patterns in the sand as the tide goes out. So many interesting things about the beach. And here's some birds enjoying themselves. There's a few more. It was really pretty and quiet. There was like nobody here, so I had the place to myself. It's my favorite. Okay, and that's weird. All right, not. All right. That is another hinged sunray Venus clam with, unfortunately, that one half on the end that is broken, but I'm going to keep the side that's not broken. And another. So it was a great day for sunray Venus clams, especially if you like the hinged ones. Don't know what people prefer. I think they're kind of cool because it's a little more unusual to find the shells when they're hinged. So that's kind of exciting. I go to wash this one off. There's another one waiting for me. So who am I to say no to yet another hinged sunray Venus clam? Kind of winding down at this point. I've walked as far as I could to the one direction, far as I could in the other direction. So it's about time to wrap up my walk, and let's go see what a couple of those shells at the end look like. But before we do that, let's just quick, and it broke my heart. This is all the glass that I picked up. So I left that in the recycling bin. That was really kind of a bummer. But at least it made its way back into the garbage and off the beach. And not surprising, I mostly found sunray Venus clamshells. Never know what you're going to find. But I did get a couple of Tampa talents, which was unusual. A couple crown conchs, did get that banded tulip. A ladderhorn snail, back is the lightning well, a couple of rose petal talons, the duck clam, the distocenia. So a couple things, a couple. Now remember that, yep, that rather green banded tulip. So I scrubbed it, soaked it in bleach, dipped it in acid, and then put mineral oil on it. So this is as good as this shell's going to get. It's okay. I think it cleaned up pretty good, all things considered. So I was rewarded with a decent banded tulip. Everyone, thank you. Thank you, Patreons, for supporting me. Thank you for leaving comments. Thank you for watching. Thank you for telling your friends about the channel. So just all around, thank you. I appreciate everything you do. I do read every single comment that comes in. So if you have any ideas or tips, throw it my way. I hope you have a great week. Next Sunday, we're headed to Sanibel, and I'll see you then.